You seem like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person? Well, if you're playing God of War, probably not. Welcome to the spoiler section of the game, and, I got my own little homemade Thor cosplay. I love this hammer so much. Anyway, hope you guys liked the spoiler-free review, but now, we're gonna sit down and talk about, my thoughts on the game with no holds barred. I'm gonna talk about spoilers. So, let's start by talking about the new weapon, the Draupnir spear. Loved it. Loved the hell out of it. Obviously, I really wanted to wield Mjolnir in the game, but we do not. That was one of the things I specifically said I wanted in the game, but unfortunately we don't wield the hammer. But I'm very happy with the weapon they put in. I love how, one thing that I think is really impressive about the Draupnir spear is that it feels like a mixture of Kratos' Greek side and his Norse side. Because Draupnir, for anyone who doesn't know, is an actual thing from Norse mythology, a ring that can duplicate itself. And so, they merged it with a spear, which I don't know if it was a Greek spear or head or what, but regardless, it resulted in, a Greek-style spear, because the Lady of the Lake took the blood of Kratos and merged it with everything. And even when she took his blood, there was, the Greek Omega symbol, and then there was what looked like a Norse rune. So it was a good representation that this is both Greek and Norse. Which is also kind of perfect when you think about it, because the Leviathan axe is a Norse weapon. The Blades of Chaos are a Greek weapon. If you're going to put a third weapon type in there, what do? Do we go Greek? Do we go Norse? Both. They went both. And it's a perfect way to explain why he can keep throwing spears. It's amazing. In God of War Ghost of Sparta, Kratos had a spear and a shield, and he could just endlessly throw the spears with no explanation. Now in this game, there is an explanation, and it's a very well done one that I really like, and I loved using that spear. I love the whole throw a spear, detonate, and explode. Fantastic. Great weapon to use. You know what's funny? When I first got it and was first using it, I was like, this weapon feels a little weak. I don't know if I'm going to be using it much. But then I upgraded it, and I got new skills for it, and I started using it more. I was like, okay, I'm actually having a ton of fun using this. So yeah, really loved the new spear. Now, there were several things I said I wanted in this game. I made a video, top 10 things I want in God of War Ragnarok, and some of those things we got, some of those things we didn't. I said I wanted more Faye and to see what she looked like. We got that. Wonderful. I said I wanted to wield Mjolnir. We didn't get that. I said I wanted a hint at what the next mythology was going to be. Didn't get that, surprisingly. Very surprised with that. I said I wanted a good amount of Aesir boss battles. Unfortunately, didn't get that. But I also said I wanted more enemy and boss variety. We got that. Very well done. I very much enjoyed it. So, I think I ended up getting about half of what I wanted in that video, and I still got a lot of stuff that I didn't ask for, but was still very, very happy to get, It was really cool. I said I wanted Heimdall. We got Heimdall also is another thing. A lot of people have asked me, what are my thoughts on Heimdall's design and Odin's design and everything. Here are my thoughts. Those designs aren't what I would have expected. Also, probably not even what I would have preferred. I really like, big armored Heimdall with the big-ass sword. We didn't get that. Heimdall felt more like an asshole douchebag teenager in this. But for what they wanted to do with him, I think they did it well. They made it work. And, I think it makes sense because, in this game, Heimdall can read people's minds, which is a little similar to what he can do in the myth. So it's it would make sense if he's constantly reading people's minds. He thinks he knows everything about everybody, and if no one's ever landed a hit on him, he thinks he doesn't have to watch how he behaves because he's not scared of anyone. That could turn anyone into a total douchebag. That's kind of normal, actually. The way characters are written in this game is impressive. I really liked how Odin, tries so hard to manipulate people, but when you actually hear him, behind the scenes and whatever, talking to Thor and stuff, you hear how toxic he is and how he constantly puts Thor down and all this other shit. He's a horrible father. And that's one of the great reasons not to trust him when he tries to be a father figure to Atreus. Like, all of that, I think, works really well. Thor, you know, like, we all thought we were going to hate Thor, but I thought with his character development throughout the game, you watch him struggle, you watch him actually, like, be sad that his sons are gone, and he's also a recovering alcoholic, which probably explains a lot of his shitty behavior. You see him try to be better for his daughter and everything like that, and when he finally breaks free of Odin's hold, it's like, it feels earned, and it feels like a triumphant moment, and then he sadly immediately dies. And I was like, oh no, damn it. But yeah, like, very good character development. By the way, how cool is it that in this game they cast YouTubers, like ProZD playing Ratatoskr, and I think Yong Ya plays the Stalkers? Wow. Santa Monica, if you're in the habit of hiring YouTubers, you know, there's a YouTube channel that really likes mythology and really likes God of War, you know, you could, you know, wouldn't say no to a little collaboration. It's probably never going to happen, but that would be so cool. Also, one thing interesting in this game is, like, again, kind of like the last game, there are little nods to other cultures. Like, in Midgard, you can find Tyr's artifacts, which are each from other mythologies and other cultures. Like, there's an Asian one, there's a Mayan one, and, you know, Egyptian one, and other stuff. But also, I was very surprised when a Kelpie suddenly showed up in the game. I was like, oh, that's Celtic folklore. I mean, very close to Norse. And then when we got on it, I was like, man, you know, this Kelpie, if this was mythically accurate, it would be trying to drown us. And then Mimir directly says, you know, in my homeland, they tell people the Kelpies try to drown children. I'm like, so you guys know. Also, my theory on the woman who creates the Draupnir spear, the Myr woman, I think that's supposed to be the Lady of the Lake from Arthurian legend. I really do think that, which is also pretty cool and also more like Celtic culture. Also, Angerboda's grandmother is named Grilla and has a cauldron and is a giant. I'm pretty damn sure that's supposed to be the Icelandic folklore Grilla, who is known as either a giantess or an ogress, who is known for stealing naughty children away and cooking them up in her cauldron. She's one of the, like, whole be good kids, otherwise a monster is gonna come on Christmas and kill you, you know, kind of like Krampus or, you know, the Belsnickel or something like that. So I think that's who Angerboda's grandmother is supposed to be. Really cool to have Grilla show up. Also, there's even a part where Mimir alludes that he is Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Didn't expect to see Shakespeare lore in God of War. That was very surprising. So yeah, all of that stuff was pretty cool. Now, I imagine a whole lot of you want to hear what I was talking about when I said the final battle was a little underwhelming. So let's talk about it. All right. So one thing is, like, so when we get to Ragnarok, we haven't really built relationships with the dwarves or the elves, you know? Like, they just say, like, Freyr says, okay, I'm gonna go cause a truce between the light and dark elves and we'll bring them to Ragnarok. And I think that makes sense. They have a high regard for Freyr as that was established. But I would have really loved if there was a story mission where it's like, we go with Freyr and we see how that truce happens, or we help it happen. I feel like that would have been more, it would have made it all the more earned when the elves show up in the final battle. Also, the dwarves. Well, you know, when we arrived at Nidavellir in Svartalfheim, all of the dwarves just run away from us. Like, they're scared of us. They have this, like, opinion of Odin, like he's their savior and whatnot. But there's a little rebellion also in Nidavellir. I was hoping they'd go more into that. I thought what was going to happen was throughout the game, we were going to earn the dwarves' respect, and then they were going to join us for Ragnarok. That didn't happen. What happens is Sindri just says, I'll go get the dwarves. And again, I was like, man, I really wish we could go with Sindri, because I feel like there's so many character moments we can have now that, well, this is the spoiler section, now that Brok is dead. God, I was so broken up about that. I was so bummed about that. I'll talk more about that later. But, when Sindri just says, I'll go get the dwarves, I was like, I wish we could go with him. I want to see us, convince the dwarves, earn their respect, earn their trust. And I want to have more character moments with Sindri throughout it. And maybe we can heal this now broken relationship when we go. But just like Freyr going to the Light Elves, we don't do that. We don't go to the dwarves. But unlike Freyr with the Light Elves, Sindri just comes back without the dwarves. So it doesn't even happen. It was pointless. Like, he's like, nah, the dwarves don't need to die in this rebellion. I'm like, really? No, even Durlin's not going to come? You know what I thought would have been really cool? Like, Odin had Durlin leading the commission to build the catapults and siege weapons. What if, like, when we got to Ragnarok, suddenly, like, you could say Durlin, like, pulls a lever and all the catapults, like, turn around and fire at Asgard. And he'd say something like, by the way, old father, it's pretty fucking dense to hire a former rebel to build your defenses. That could have been really, like, a great moment, I thought. But we didn't get anything like that. Just no dwarf involvement in the final battle whatsoever, and I was disappointed with that. Also, as we were fighting in the final battle, they just said, well, every time you kill a 9-Heriar, it's just going to respawn in Asgard. I kind of hate that stuff. It's like, oh, so all this killing I'm doing is pointless. I'm not accomplishing anything. So that took some of the, power out of the battle. Also, I would have liked, I know Angerboda does show up with Fenrir, but I would have liked a little more focus on that. I feel like that could have been such a cool moment, and it feels like it almost happens like, oh, look over there it is. Okay, cool. Anyway, moving on. I feel like it could have been so much more of an epic moment, like Angerboda's arrival with Fenrir really could have been something. But unfortunately it was not. Why does Odin even have the realm towers there, by the way? Doesn't he know how Gjallarhorn works? Doesn't he know it's going to activate all the towers? Why didn't he destroy them earlier? He doesn't need them. He has Bifrost teleportation and Raven teleportation. What the hell are those towers even doing there? They are nothing but a threat to him. Even if he didn't destroy them from the beginning, he should have destroyed them the second Gjallarhorn was taken. Like, dumbass. So yeah, that's another problem I have with. But here's my biggest problem with the final battle at Ragnarok. My two biggest problems. One of them being, we don't go take part in recruiting the Light Elves. We don't go take part in recruiting the Dwarves. The Dwarves don't even happen. I don't need us to take part in Vanaheim. I feel like we already did enough in Vanaheim to establish why they would join us. What we do is Kratos and Atreus, we go to Muspelheim to recruit Surt, and we turn him into the entity of Ragnarok and bring him, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're bringing the big guns, like, this is what we do while you guys are out doing this other stuff. And then when we do bring Surt Ragnarok to the battle, later on they're just like, no, you know what? This is too much of a problem. This is too risky. Where innocent lives will be lost. We actually have to stop Surt Ragnarok from destroying the wall. We'll just go to the flaw in the wall. All that shit we did, ending Surt's life, taking him away from the woman so that he'll never again see the woman he loves, and, creating this gigantic kaiju to help us in Ragnarok. I was so ready to watch that wall get destroyed. Nope, none of it happens. In fact, it's bad that we even did that. Everything, what we did to prepare for Ragnarok was worthless and actually an inconvenience in the long run. I hated that. I really hated that, to be honest with you. My other biggest problem with the Battle of Ragnarok, as I kind of stated in the spoiler-free review, was the lack of Aesir. Where the hell was Forseti? They established him as kind of, very loyal to Odin, and also a bit of a control freak, I guess, because he was always investigating everything. I thought, it would have been really cool to, build him up as another rival for Atreus or something after Heimdall died, since he was investigating Heimdall's death. And then when he finds out about it, what could have been so cool was, while Kratos is fighting Thor, you could have had Atreus fighting Forseti, or I don't know, something like that. Give us some, Aesir boss battles. It's like, you fight Thor at the beginning of the game, Odin's gonna be the final boss. Who do you fight at Ragnarok? Thor and Odin. That's it! There's no other bosses during Ragnarok! So that's one of my big problems with the game. But unfortunately, it's still a cool battle, and the battle with Thor is awesome. The battle with Odin was cool, but like I said, I beat it a little too easily, and I think that's just because I got, like, every single upgrade. So I don't blame the game for that. I blame me for that. But yeah, unfortunately, there are really good boss battles leading up to it. The double Valkyrie fight at the Spark of Creation is really cool. The dragon boss battles are really cool. The battle with Nidhogg is really cool. The battle with Garm is one of my favorites in the whole game. The battle with Grilla is really cool. So we do have a lot of really good boss battles. That's why I still gave this game like a 9 out of 10, is because there is still so... I have problems with the final battle, but I love the shit out of the stuff that led up to it still. Like, I still had a great time. So, I don't want it to sound like I'm just crapping all over this game. I'm just expressing the part that I do have a problem with, but that doesn't mean I don't love the hell out of other parts of it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. That means awesome game. That means near legendary game. And I'm sure this is going to be a gaming standard now, God of War Ragnarok. So, very happy about that. Yeah, let's talk about Brok's death. Oh, man. Throughout the game, I was thinking, man, Tyr's kind of useless, isn't he? He never does anything, and then we find out why. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what we were building up to. Another thing I didn't get was during the prophecy where they said, see, that's Tyr leading us in Ragnarok. I was thinking, how do you know that's Tyr? Because one of two things was going on. Either one, that wasn't Tyr, because Tyr doesn't lead us at Ragnarok, so why did Atreus think that was Tyr? Or two, maybe that was supposed to be Tyr, maybe it's the same design as in the last game or something. I didn't get a good look at it, to be honest with you. Maybe it was supposed to be Tyr in the prophecy. Prophecy's wrong. That didn't happen in Ragnarok. So, somebody made a boo-boo, is all I'm saying. So yeah. So Brok died, and I was so bummed when Brok died, because there had been so many... They built up to it well. There were some great Brok moments leading up to it, with Kratos and Brok bonding. I loved that, where he takes the spear and he says, I need a blessing from a brilliant blacksmith, and there's one standing right in front of me. It's like, that was wonderful. I loved that so much. He calls Brok a friend. He calls Mimir a brother. He calls Freya a friend. Kratos has really grown, and I really, really love that. It feels really good to see. And so then when Brok figures out what Tyr actually is, he dies for it, and it's so sad. And what happened, Sindri is so broken up about it. He's broken. Sindri is broken now, and I get why. He lost his brother, who he loved more than anything. And it hurt me. It hit me. Throughout the whole rest of the game, I was bummed about that. And that means they're doing something right, honestly. If I'm invested in it, and I don't go, oh, how stupid, I'm like, oh, no, yeah, I get why that happened. And also, I'm sad that it happened. And, so you're doing something right there, Santa Monica, but god damn, I'm sad that Brok died. And I'm even more sad that he can't have an afterlife because he didn't have his whole soul intact. It's like, oh, no! Santa Monica, can you put in an expansion for the game where we find Brok's soul and not bring him back, because that would be cheesy. That wouldn't work well. Find Brok's soul and help it pass to the afterlife. Can we do that, please? I'm so invested in that. And that's another thing. This is supposed to close out the Norse saga. The story doesn't feel done. There's still so much to handle with Sindri, and, well, I guess mainly just with Sindri. But yeah, I don't feel like the story's done. I mean, if we literally just move on to another mythology and we never see Sindri again, I'm gonna be really bummed. I'm like, I want things to be okay with Sindri. I'm thinking, what I think you could do is, I don't know, you could have an expansion where, Atreus and Sindri, go searching for Brok's soul in order to help him pass to the afterlife. And, throughout it, they kind of repair their relationship. I'm just so invested. I want that. I know you can't always have everything you want. You can't always, get it. Things don't always end perfectly. But this is something I really want to see end. Even if we do succeed in that, it's still not going to be a perfect ending. Brok is still dead, but it would be so nice to continue that and fix that dynamic. I just want to fix it so bad. It hurts. See how much I care. Yeah. So then there's another problem I have, but this would have been a huge spoiler. I couldn't mention this in the previous review. So since Tyr is revealed to just be Odin in disguise, it was never the real Tyr. But then there's an optional quest you can go on at the end where you go to Niflheim, that new room unlocks, and in that room, like basically what it is Odin's private prison, and it turns out the real Tyr is in there. You find him, and he's like, "Oh my god." It had no impact when you find the real Tyr. It had no impact. It didn't become a cutscene or anything. It's just like, hey, I'm here. Oh, cool. Well, you should head to Sindri's house. I thought, oh, okay, I'll head to Sindri's house and this conversation will continue. No, he's not there. If you go to Sindri's house after that, it had no impact. There was no reason to even have the real Tyr show up, I feel. He could have been dead there and nothing would have been different. Literally, nothing would have been different. It didn't matter at all. I was so let down by the lack of impact that had. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. There's also some funny things about the game where it's like, like the teeny little you can't go to certain areas because there's something stupid in the way. Like, oh, Kratos, you can't go over there. There's a rock in the way. It's not like you could vault over that or jump over that like you have in all your previous games. The stupidest part is when you're in Midgard and there's a part where you can't go up some stairs because there's snow on them. Not even deep snow, like 1 foot of snow. It's like, nope, can't do anything. There's snow on those stairs. You can't walk up those stairs. So I'm like, are you serious? You're going to make me go all the way around this whole thing because there's a foot of snow on these stairs. It was stupid, but it doesn't break the game or anything. It's not a legitimate big issue. It was just a moment where I looked at the game and went, really? Is that what's going to stop me from being able to get up these stairs? That's what's going to stop the god of war, the god killer, the ghost of Sparta. Like, the biggest threat to Kratos isn't Zeus, it isn't Thor, it isn't Odin, it isn't freaking Gaia, it's snow. 1 foot of... That's why Kratos never fought Boreas. Boreas could have defeated him. That's why we never fought Skadi either, because Kratos stands no chance against a single foot of snow, let alone a snow or ice deity. Oh god, it's just so silly. It's so silly. But yeah, overall, a lot of really great character moments in the game. I just love some of the conversations. I love how openly Kratos talks with Atreus and with Freya and with Mimir. There's a great part where Atreus says, but Dad, you couldn't beat Thor before. How are you going to beat him later? He says, Atreus, I didn't beat him before because you weren't with me. It's like, aw. There's also a part where Kratos helps Atreus free a creature. He's like, Dad, why did you help me free this creature? And Mimir says, isn't it obvious? He wants to spend time with you. And Kratos goes, yeah, that's basically why. Aw. Like, great development. A lot of great stuff. And yeah, after you defeat all of the berserkers, with the Skofnung and get the Skofnung sword, which is really cool. Like, I'm glad that was in the game. Like, Kratos says, I'm going to use this sword for good rather than evil, and change its legend. And Mimir's like, wow, you're a lot different than you used to be. And Kratos says, that's because I've had very good counsel, brother. And I'm like, so good to see stuff like that. I love the character development. Old Kratos never would have said shit like that. But, he's grown. That's one of the reasons I love this game so much. It's a great sequel. Great sequels continue the story instead of doing the same shit all over again. We don't just get cold, too hard on his son Kratos again, and calling Atreus boy all the time. Doesn't happen. The story has continued, and, a lot has changed. And there is one... well, technically there's 3 Valkyries you get to fight in this game, but there is one hidden Valkyrie boss in this game. That was a tough one, but what's amazing? I actually beat her on the second try, but I think it's because when I went to try the second time, I had the Skofnung sword that was very helpful. So, yeah. Hey, Mythology guy from the future here. I just realized there's something I didn't talk about in this video that I really do need to talk about. Sorry about the echo in here, but didn't have a lot of choice. So, yeah, this is something I can't leave out of the spoiler review because this is kind of a big thing. So, you remember at the end of God of Thor, the whole Kratos seeing the prophecy that he's gonna die? And then that's brought up in this game, in Ragnarok. It's brought up multiple times. It's like, people are constantly saying, oh my god, Kratos is gonna die. You're gonna die. It's the prophecy. What's gonna happen? And Atreus even finds out. He's like, oh my god, my father's gonna die. And even Grilla talks about it. She's like, oh my god, his father is gonna die. And Gerboda talks about it. Like, so many people talk. I think even the Norns mention it at one point. And here's the thing, Kratos doesn't die in this game, which is fine. I figured maybe they'd find a way around it, but unless I missed something, they never find a way around it. It just doesn't happen. It's not even brought up at the end segment of the game. It, like, nothing to do with it even happens. Like, they never say, oh, like, we found a way to stop you from dying, or any of that. Like, but yeah, I guess you don't need to directly say that, but I need something, you guys. Like, no character, like, even brings up, hey, you didn't die. Well, it's because of this, or anything like that. No one even says, hey, surprised you didn't die. Nothing. Nothing. Did I miss something? Guys, did I miss something? Because that was huge. That was a big thing. I was wondering, my God, how's this going to play in? It never happens. There's no scene of Kratos even laying in Atreus' lap. Like, I always thought it's possible, like, you're misconstruing what's going to happen there, but it doesn't even happen. You know, now that I think about it, there is a scene where Odin lays back in Atreus' arms and his soul comes out. Is that what it was referring to? I don't know. I'm so legitimately confused by the fact that that wasn't in the game. Something's got to be going on, because there's no way that would just be left out of the game. I think I missed something. Can you guys help me out? Can you tell me what I missed? I have no idea, like, what happened there. But I am going to give the game the benefit of the doubt, because I really don't think, like, they would screw up that bad. Like, I really think it's something I missed. So I need your help, you guys. If I missed, like, an explanation, or if I'm just dumb and I didn't pick up on something I was supposed to pick up on, help me out here, because I'm really annoyed by this. Overall, really great stuff. I think that's about all I have to say about this game, with spoilers included. Those are all my thoughts. Thanks for joining me. People keep asking me where I got this hammer. I got it on Amazon, and this version said only one left when I bought it, so I don't know if they've restocked it or not. You can check Amazon. That's all I know. So, this is a Night's Watch robe, by the way. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I do not know how to end videos.